How's it going, everybody? Okay, so let's get to it because we actually have two videos to put into one because we missed yesterday's. I apologize about that, but I had stuff to do. So, all right, let's get into it so we can learn. So we're going to review what we our trade today and why we did some things that normally we wouldn't do. And then we're going to talk about placing a stop order to make sure that you can hit your target a little bit easier and not really have to worry about the bounce effect. This is actually something really important to learn once you kind of get the idea of, stock trading down so that you don't really miss an opportunity to maximize your gains. Okay. And you'll know exactly what I'm talking about as we get in here. But first, let's talk about support. I keep calling it spirit. I have no idea why, probably just because SPRT, but support, we played it today. It was our first run. So it popped off and crossed right as, within a minute of the bell. I already had a green. It's already, where we want it on the 9 and the 50. I mean, it's trading right at the 50 across this whole chart that you see right here. So yeah, it's in a good trading position. Now, we look down here about between the second and the third green candle. We look down here, we're in an overbought situation, which is great. And we have a cross. So everything aligns the way it's supposed to. So we buy in. And I think this one, we got something like 13.83, 13.84, something, I can't remember. But the point of it is, as soon as we get it, it barely goes up, not even where we really wanted it. And then it just kind of goes bummed. But if you were on the call today, if you were on the audio, we held, and we actually held below our 4% stop. Now we have a 4% basically death cell. It's where you just resolve yourself, you're going to make a loss and you get out. So why did we stay in this one? It's very simple, because Garrett told us to, right? So my trading partner, Garrett, he is absolutely awesome. He's probably way more intuitive than any other person I've ever really seen as far as day trading goes. He's extremely helpful when we got weird scenarios on this. So he said we need to hold on because we're going to be okay. I believe him and trust him, but here's the reason why. See, Garrett had been trading support for basically the last 10 days. He got caught in a bag and was able to watch it day after day after day while he was recovering and able to get himself into a position of profit. By doing so, he started to notice the patterns and trends of what support has been doing and knew exactly what it was going to do. So this is one of the great things about trading with us on there, is you've got a lot of different people with a lot of different experience, a lot of different viewpoints, who know what's going on with the market, that as a newbie or a beginner, we may not understand that ebb and flow yet. So if we've got a lot of people who have a little bit more experience than us, they can kind of help us out in getting out of these snafus. So we held on, even though, it got a little bit under the 4%, but then it started to recover up. Once we were in here, I think we were out right around 14, 15 or something like that. We popped it out. We made around 2%. Well within our goal range. And that was that. We shut off our deal and hit it up. So is it okay to hold under 5%? If you're by yourself, absolutely not. I mean, it's all based on what you think and what the people, you can only really rely on your own experience. So if you're brand new and you don't understand what any particular stock is going to do, then you just got to get out of it. So this wouldn't be a bad idea if you were by yourself and you cut out here at 4%. You did it right. That's a good trade. It's a red trade and it's a red day, but remember, slow and steady wins the race. You are going to take some L's. But if you were with us, then we would have had a trustworthy source that tells us to wait, and it comes back up. In fact, this did it all day. I know a lot of people in the group that were basically ripping support all day long, just over and over and over again. And in fact, right before the 2 o'clock bell, it had actually gotten up to like 14.90 or 15 or something like that. So it had a lot of great opportunities if you have more than one trade to do in a day. But Garrett, knowing that and having somebody with experience to tell you why it may or may not be okay to bend a rule is huge. Otherwise, you just kind of have to keep it strict. And if you sold at 4% and you're waiting for tomorrow to recoup it, or tomorrow and the next to recoup it, that's okay too. But get into our voice channel so that you can know what to do here, and everything was good. In fact, we ripped it again and it did the exact same thing later on. And we ended up holding the bag for like 2 hours, but we knew it would come back again because we understood the pattern of this particular stock. And we were able to get out and, basically avoid a red day. So I'm not saying that it's okay to forget about your exit strategy. What I am saying is your exit strategy needs to be a formulation of your technical, fundamental knowledge and experience, right? That way you know if something's a good idea or not. If you don't know, then you cannot stray at all. If you don't know, you take the L at 4% and tomorrow's another day. But if you do know, then obviously you have to adjust following. We kind of want to get that 4%, but we adjust it too sometimes, like when things don't go our way. So make sure that you're in our voice channel. And if not, make sure that in a scenario like this, you do get out at the 4% because you don't know if it's going to go up or not, unless you've already had prior experience with trading this particular stock. So we get a little over 2%. We put it in our handy dandy tracker and we're up 240 for the week and we are up 4.37% so far for the month. I mean, that's just since the 9th. So we're actually doing pretty darn good. If we're averaging right around 2.5% a week, which it's kind of looking like we are, hey man, that's solid. That's better than the broker. So we just got to keep going. Remember, slow and steady wins the race. We're not here. It's not get rich quick. It's get rich eventually. So that's the end of that first episode, but let's go back onto it. So I want to talk about in this next part, talk about setting a stop. Now, what setting a stop is basically just putting a limit at a certain number higher than what your price point or what the price that you entered a stock in, and making sure that you're going to sell at a certain price point instead of missing it, trying to figure out when to, do a sell market or whatnot. Now, I have Thinkorswim, so I'm not sure exactly what you're going to have on your chart if you're with Webull or, somebody else's platform. So I can only do this on Thinkorswim, but the context is the same, right? The technicals and what you may have to push or not push is going to be a little bit different, but the context is the same. So over here, I've got a bunch of hot buttons: buy the ask, sell the bid, buy market, because I just kind of like to hit one button, get in and get out. Especially if you're trading really, really fast. Buy market, sell market is pretty handy. Buy the ask is a little slower, but it's cool. So TCAT, just going to kind of use this as an example. But what we're really focused on is right here. The reason we're focused on it is because we're going to talk about creating a stop, which in order to ensure that we pick up the best profit that we can. So this goes cross, it gets into an overbought situation, everything's looking good and we buy in and it's going up, but we want to make sure that we are getting as close to the 4% as we possibly can and not selling ourselves short by hitting the market button and then all of a sudden it drops in between the fill, right? And then we don't get where we want to. That happens a lot where it may come up to here to 10, what is that, 1045, and you hit the sell market because you want to get out real quick, and then right before it dumps and you really only get into 1030. So to avoid that, what we want to do is create a limit order, basically a stop. If you see right here, this says stop. When I go on my ladder, which has all the price points of this particular stop, when I go to this side here and I push my mouse right here, it creates a stop, which says that whatever I'm buying, I'm going to sell X amount of shares, right? Which is based on the quantity up here. Yeah, that was an awesome circle. Based on the quantity up here. And all it does is it just sits at that. It's an order that will not activate until the stock gets to 10.04. Now, the idea of 10.04 is, let's say we got in here at 966. What's 4%? What's 966 plus 4%? It's 1004. And so I say 4%. How do I know that so quickly? I have a calculator right next to my laptop. And I always have plus 4% already typed in. And all I do is just change the price point as soon as I get into a stock. And then what you can do is, as soon as you get into it, put your stop in at 4% and you just wait for it to fill. That way, while it's bouncing up and down over here, and you're trying to get in at the best, and you put in a quick sell, and somehow you end up don't getting filled until it's closer to the bottom. And then we're like, oh man, could have gotten more. Well, this is the way to make sure that you get there, that you get your goal. You can set this for 2%, 3%. You can set it for a penny. It's basically just a ladder that's showing all the price points up and down. So if you're at 4% at 1004, but doesn't look like it's reaching there, right? I mean, it's just kind of keeps sitting right at the 98, and it won't do anything, and it won't do anything. And you don't really think that it's going to get to 1004. What you can literally do is take this stop order and drag it down the ladder to your new sell limit. If it's bouncing on 99 and you don't think it's going to go up further, then drag the stop down to 999 and then let it fill as soon as it hits that. Boom, you've got your order. Even better, because if you see it bouncing and then you're like, okay, I want to get out at 999, and then somehow it fills at 993, well, you lost all that money. So if you put a stop and you can drag it down, as you start to see things play out, you at least have something that's going to assist you in getting the fill that you want. But that doesn't mean that you just put the order in and then let it go, because what if it never hits that 4%? You still got to be diligent. You still got to watch. But if you already have the sell limit set up and the order is already there, then all you need to do is just watch the chart or watch the price action and then adjust accordingly. That way you have control and you don't have to hurry and try to figure out how to sell and get the most out of it, because you're already doing it right here. So setting up the stop, super, super, super helpful, especially in the way that we trade. All right, guys, that's all I've got for today. We will catch you tomorrow with a brand new watch list and another opportunity to make some great green. You all have a good day and happy Wednesday.